what does life mean? What will give me a sense of meaning, right? To what I'm doing, to where I'm headed, to my daily experiences. Life is very complex, so I can't give you a single track answer to finding your life purpose, you as an individual. You don't learn anything if you're not excited by it. And when you get older and you don't have anything to put your brain onto and things are slowing down, you don't realize that that's what's making you depressed. But the way the world works is you don't achieve anything unless you have limits. I'm trying to help you develop your nonverbal skills. It's so easy to see through a liar. You know, traditionally, women have this more problem with men, but that's changing. They feel their gut tells them that there's something wrong with this man. He's lying, he's cheating on me, he's no good. But their heart, they want to be loved, they want to be in the relationship, so they don't trust their gut. That first impression, and they get in the relationship, and then it gets really nasty and ugly. Music want you to trust your gut about people. If you feel like there's something sneaky or slimy or not trustworthy about this person, then there's probably something there. And the best thing to do is to try and confront them. And you can tell by the way they talk and the way they react that they're lying, right? Or that they're not lying. Going into people's privacy and going into their phone, I think is very invasive. It's violent, and I don't think it's warranted. When you first meet somebody, it's a very strange thing, because when you meet people for the second or the third time, it's not the same, right? But when you see them the first time, there's a weird energy going on because they're a stranger. And, there's a weariness about them. There's a curiosity. It's a different energy than anything else. And you're feeling something from that person, music, that's different from after you've seen them 2 or 3 times, because after 2 or 3 times, you're not paying attention. You've assumed, oh, this is what they're like. I know who they are. That first time, you don't know that. And those gut feelings are much stronger. You're picking up vibes about music that something is a little bit off about this person, right? Something about that narcissist. Those eyes I was talking about, you pick that up. Whereas the third or fourth time, you're not sensitive to it anymore. Music. When you're around your boss, you have a different manner. You speak music differently. Your voice is different. Your body language is different. The way you walk is different. And then with you, when you're music with your spouse or your children or some colleague who's you're equal with, you're completely different, right? Music. What does that mean? What's going on here? Who's the real you? Is it how you behave with your boss when you're all a little bit tense and your voice is a little more hesitant? Or is it the real you when you're with your friend joking around? Or is it the real you when you're talking to your wife or your husband? You're a Shamil, you're an actor, you're constantly music wearing a mask and changing how you behave depending on the level of power, music the social status, the level of how well you know the other person. You're constantly shifting who you are. So just never think that you really actually know a person because they're presenting something that they want you to believe is the reality. But one of the ugliest emotions is envy, simply because people don't recognize it. They don't admit to themselves that they're feeling envy. And because they don't admit to themselves that they feel envy, they have license to do whatever they want. Music. So, a lot of murders, a lot of terrible crimes, a lot of sabotage have been committed out of envy of the person that you're dealing with, but you never admit it to yourself because envy means that you feel inferior to someone else. You wish you had what they have. Humans don't like to admit that they're inferior, that somebody has something that they wish they had. So we justify to ourselves. We say, they're really a bad person. They're evil. They're inconsiderate. They're all full of themselves. They're arrogant. It's actually stemming from us. It's stemming from the fact that we wish music we had what they had. We, clears throat, feel envy. And because we justify it music as it's their problem, we're now justified to commit terrible things to them, spying on them, hurting them, sabotaging them. Some people are magnets for envy, and they're magnets from envy because they're so good, they're so successful, they're smart, they're beautiful, they're witty, they've got all these good qualities. A lot of people hate them and envy them. Music. There's passive envy where I myself feel envy for a great basketball player who could do things that I could never do because I love basketball. I was never very good at it, but god damn it, I really music envy Kobe Bryant, but I don't do anything about it. I love him. He was my hero. But people who are very insecure and feel envy are capable of very evil things. The other emotion that can lead to evil actions are people who are so certain of themselves. They know the truth. They know what is going on. They know the answer to everything. And because they know what is happening, they're willing to do anything, right? They'll take all kinds of actions to prove that they're certain, but their certainty is not based on anything real. So I always look at people who are filled with conviction and certainty as actually very dark figures. The warm, the human quality that you want is you don't know. You're uncertain. You're not sure this is exactly the right thing to do. You're not killed by doubt. You're not able to not take any action, but you always have a sense of maybe I don't know what's right. Music. Maybe I have to think more deeply about it. Maybe I have to be more of a human being than this machine that's so certain about things. But those would be sort of to be the two most potentially evil qualities, the most important decision in your life. Figuring out what you were destined for, why you were born, what you were created for, what makes you unique. And I say that everything from that realization, from that understanding kind of stems from that, your sense of fulfillment, your happiness, everything will come from that one realization. And a lot of young people are very confused right now, and I don't blame them. These are very, very confusing times that they're going through, particularly, I think, the influence of technology and social media. And what I mean by that is to know who you are, to know what you were meant to do in life, why you were born, what makes you unique, requires a lot of reflection on yourself, self-awareness, self-knowledge. You have to go inward. And when your attention is always focused so much on what other people are doing, what other people are saying, what they think is hot, what they think is cool, you become kind of a stranger to yourself, right? What does life mean? What will give me a sense of meaning, right? To what I'm doing, to where I'm headed, to my daily experiences. And not having that is deeply disturbing. And I've been through that myself. Well, you have to get out of this way of thinking that so many people have, which everything has to be simple and linear and I'm headed this direction. There's got to be a solution, like I'm hacking my way to the truth. Music life doesn't work that way. Life is very complex, so I can't give you a single track answer to finding your life purpose, you music as an individual. But I can give you kind of clues. I can kind of direct you towards music, certain paths that have worked for me and that have worked for hundreds and thousands of other people who've become masters music or very successful in their field. And the first thing, music, is you have to go inward. So you have to resist the pull that our culture gives you. You have to also really want this. And that's probably what it really comes down to. Are you unhappy? Are you frustrated? Are you hitting kind of rock bottom? Is this a turning point in your life where you realize if I keep going this way in 5 years, music, it's going to be really serious? Okay, it has to be important to you. And you have to have a sense of urgency. And with that sense of urgency, music, you have to make some decisions. And one of the decisions that's absolutely essential is music. To pay less attention to what other people are doing, to pay less attention to what other music people are saying, to pay less attention to what people are telling you should be doing, and to go inward and think about yourself and think about what you love and what your interests are that have nothing to do with what people music are doing on social media. The things that grab you, that excite you deeply inside in a way that's almost music irresistible. Now, for me, I can say that it was always been writing. You had it when you were a child. You had it when you music were 2, 3, 4 years old, 5 years old, and you've lost it because you're listening too much to other people. So music, it's kind of like archaeology would be the metaphor. You have to dig and dig and dig in music, find those bones and those relics and those artifacts from your past, the things that really excite you as well as the things that you hate. But it all begins from a sense of urgency. I can't go on this way. I have to find something music that I love. When you're 20 or 21, maybe you don't feel that urgency because you're so young. You look good, you have lots of energy, music. The world's kind of open to you, but you have to be careful because time passes really quickly. Those years in music, your 20s, they go by faster than you think. And if you're turned 30 and you never thought about this and you're kind of been wandering around trying things, music, it starts to get a little difficult, much harder for you. So it's better if you have that sense of urgency, music, when you're 21 or 22. And the other thing I would say is you don't learn anything if you're not excited by it. So you have to have a sense of fun and adventure about this. So discovering what your life's task can't be this dreary, boring thing that Roberts advocate you do, where oh, I have to spend time with myself. I have to look, do a journal, blah, blah, blah. No, it's fun. It's an adventure trying different things that fit into this general shape of what you were destined for. It's a blast. When I was in my 20s, I had more fun than anybody. I had an amazing time. It was the best years of my life. I was trying all sorts of different things. I was exploring, I was traveling at adventures. So I don't want your life to be boring. I want you to learn. I want you to have adventures, but you have to have a sense of direction, a sense of purpose to guide that kind of those different adventures that you go on. But what happens with a lot of people turning 40 or even a little bit older and they're coming to those crossroads is it's even much more painful than music when you're in your 20s because there's a sense of regret. There's a sense that you've wasted your time. And to get back to a path that will suit you can be very difficult, as you mentioned. But there's also another side to that, which is you probably have been learning some skills in your life. You probably have had some experiences that have changed you because when you're 21, 22, you don't know the world. You don't know people. You think you know everything music, but you don't know anything, right? You've never had any experiences in life. You never had to suffer. Maybe you have, but not really suffering like you do when music you get older. Okay, so you're 40, you've had tough experiences, you've been hardened, you've got, you're not so fragile music and you've learned things. If you change your mindset at that music age and you go, I'm going to take what I have, my experiences, my skills, what I've learned, and I'm going to redirect it towards something more exciting for me, then music will work for you. The pain that you feel when you get older. And we humans have very active minds. We're gifted with the most powerful organ in the entire universe, the human brain, the billions of possible connections in our brain is greater than anything in the entire universe. It is the most amazing instrument. And our brains are very active. And when you get older and you don't have anything to put your brain onto and things are slowing down, you don't realize that that's what's making you depressed. You don't realize that the fact that you haven't been music able to fulfill what you were meant to fulfill is actually the source of your misery and unhappiness. You will blame it on other people. You will blame it on the world. You will blame it on politics. You won't look at yourself and realize that it comes from you, and the sadness comes from you, and the fact that you're not maximizing, you're not exploiting this gift that you were given. So it might be difficult to shed all of that. This is something that afflicts a lot of adolescents because if you're successful, you now have responsibility, you now have a reputation, you now have succeeded and seeded. Your next venture could fail, right? There's pressure that comes with trying something and putting your name out there. And if I don't ever try anything, if I don't bother, if I blame the world, I blame my parents, I blame my education system, I blame my partner, this, that, and the other, then you never have to worry. You never have to have that responsibility. You never have to have that fear of success. Music. And that holds people back. So it's easier to not do anything and stay in your little bubble trying to delude yourself. And you're afraid of actually putting your neck out on the line. That's what it comes down to. It's a common syndrome among adolescents, but you could become anything. I could become an actor. I could become a great novelist. I could become a CEO. I could be Elon Musk too. Music. But the way the world works is you don't achieve anything unless you have limits. Having limits and hitting that wall and that resistance music is what makes you learn, is what makes you great, is how the human brain functions. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're learning the piano, right? You can't just start out playing anything and just doing all the notes. It's very limited what you can do, right? And you have to go within those limits, music and those walls, and learn the first things first, and then those walls start to expand a little bit. But you're constantly pressing against limits, and those limits make you stronger and stronger. It's like when you're swimming, the resistance music in the water is what makes your muscles bigger, right? Mm-hmm. The resistance of limits is what makes your brain bigger. Music makes you more successful, makes you learn. But if all you do is live in that nebulous world of possibility, music, you're never developing. You're never getting any muscle. You're never getting any strength. You're not developing life skills.